Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show where a man completely immersed in anime culture torments his co-host, who is only allowed to watch the shows featured here. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/animeoutofcontext. Alongside over 100 hours of exclusive bonus material, all episodes uploaded to Patreon are completely ad-free, even to non-patrons. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And it was me! I was behind the effort latrine disaster of 1184!
I'm Shaun Rollins.
I am Dylan Kreider.
Dylan, welcome back to the show. Completely planned and definitely not a last-minute decision from the team here at Anime Out of Context Productions.
Yes, it's not like, part one of this episode was actually supposed to be released yesterday, and the episode in full was supposed to be released today.
Life is complicated, gang, and that's why we say usually having a buffer is a great way to do it. But no need to be worried, just think of this as an extra chance to speak to our lovely editor, Dylan, who has some eclectic thoughts and opinions on the world of anime, as well as a voice that is a very different in tenor and cadence from the usual dulcet tones of our angry, cynical man that is Remington. Everybody's doing fine. Everybody's doing okay. We just having a chance to have a little lovely chat with Dylan. And Dylan, it's been a minute since you and I have watched something together on the show, hasn't it?
Yes, specifically on the show, yes. We were actually just watching some anime the other day together.
Yeah, exactly. I was showing you, what was it? Delicious in Dungeon, and you had high thoughts of it, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I definitely want to continue watching it, but I'm assuming that's not what we're going to be watching today.
No. If it would be interesting to redo Dungeon Meshi on the show and just have you give your vastly alternative opinion to it compared to Remington, and that might be something we do in the future at some point if there's enough clamor for it. But no, today, Dylan, I've picked out an anime that I think is actually very good for you and I to discuss about.
Does it involve cocktails?
It does.
Oh, hey!
Yeah, because, if me and Remington are to discuss cocktails, I'm going to bring up something he's going to be like, yeah, okay. Because the boy don't drink. The boy doesn't enjoy a mixed beverage. So he's more than a little lost when it comes to discussions of this matter. And recently, an anime came out that's all about a bartender, essentially. And I figured, what better person to watch a little bartending-esque anime with than Dylan, who, on frequent occasion, will just be like, I've made you a beverage, I want you to try it, hopefully it's good, apropos of nothing.
Hey.
And most of the time it is.
I like to make sure the people around me are taken care of. And this would have been good if we had Takahata on, because if I remember correctly, he's a virtual bartender.
Yes, Takahata 101. Well, so hey, here's the cool thing. If we're once we start properly reaching out to more people for guests, and if he is interested in coming on the show, there's a 2006 version of this anime that we can also cover it then.
All right.
So that'll be easy.
Wait, so
that'll be nice.
Was the 2006 version so bad they remade it?
No.
Okay.
If any, by all accounts, the 2006 version was very beloved for the few people that watched it. This isn't a super popular show, right? It's got a very focused subject matter, right? If you're not interested in stories about a bartender and stories are being told around a bar and composition of cocktails in general, it's probably not going to do much for you, right? If you have no interest in the setting, the subject matter, or the people that attend that, it's probably not going to do much for you, as a general rule. But for the people that are interested in, a lot of people have seemed to say that this is a very nice, easy watch type of show with genuine cocktail recipes mixed in with little almost noir-esque human stories. Granted, there's no murder mystery or anything of that nature. It's just that everything is kind of slow-paced to the tune of a piano and classical style music, with characters around a bar telling stories and having beverages.
Okay, I can definitely get behind that. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's a very niche experience, hence, again, why I showing this to Remington would do absolutely nothing. I know his exact response would be to this. He'd say that there's not much going on and it's overall a boring show. Because that's... I've worked with him long enough, I feel like that's what his opinion is going to be on it. But for somebody who does partake in it, it's not going to be like, oh my god, this is the best show I've ever seen in my goddamn life. But but it's got a little bit of something there to just be a nice, relaxful evening, chill out type of show, and maybe have a cocktail while you're watching it, you know? Kind of like you do when you're watching a food-based anime. Like you make your top ramen, you put an egg in it, and you sit down while you watch the anime characters eat things that are 1,000 times better than what you've got in front of you.
Hey, on the plus side, anything they make in this show as a cocktail, we can make at home with my fully stocked bar.
Correct. And I think this would be an interesting little bit of experience for you, because this is a recently aired anime as well. The anime itself is simply titled Bartender, Kami no Glass, or Bartender, The Glass of God.
Ooh, the idea of specifically a bartender with their shaker tin being passed down from the gods themselves. Dionysus himself drank directly from this before throwing a 3-year-long kegger. All right.
Yeah, and it is an adaptation of the manga from, I believe, 2004, I want to say. 2004. It was published from 2004 to 2011 with about 167 chapters, so pretty sizable, all things considered. And that manga was just simply titled Bartender. And A Bartender, The Glass of God is the 2024 anime remake of that manga.
Okay, so was this from, like, the winter or spring season?
No. Yeah. It was the spring season, spring 2024.
So this
it just finished airing, I want to... about a month ago, give or take.
Okay, so how many episodes are we... Before we, like, go a bit further in things, how many episodes... Because this is a full season that's done. How many episodes are we watching today?
I think just a respectable 4 is probably more than enough for this. Like, the manga itself has a huge adaptation to it, but this adaptation of the anime only has 12 episodes to it. And, I figured watching a third of it is a good way to get an idea for the vibe of the show itself. So that, you can see if it's the kind of thing for you, or if it's, like, just a little too slow for others. Because I think that is probably where most of the criticism lies, in the fact that it is essentially just a slice of life show about a bartender with just a little bit of drama here and there with individual stories.
Okay. I've spent a good chunk of my adult life related in the bar scene, either going to a lot of bars, becoming a regular at a few, or even dating a bartender at times. So, I think that this is definitely going to be interesting to see how at least the manga and anime approach the subject matter.
Yeah, it very much romanticizes the idea of being a bartender, right? And we've all romanticized the idea of being a bartender. I mean, that's part of what makes it such an appealing job to people. The idea of sitting behind a quiet, fancy bar, plenty of liquor, listening to the people tell stories, and helping them with their woes just by simply providing them a drink that they need right then and there. Maybe helping them figure out their own thoughts and opinions at the time. All kinds of things.
Yeah.
It's a service industry that could theoretically have a lot of romanticism and heart behind it.
Absolutely. And especially when you come down to the craft of bartending. Oh, by the way, Shaun, fun fact.
Yes.
You're familiar with the the straw method, right? Where you take a little cocktail straw when you're mixing a cocktail. And you use the straw to dab a little bit of the drink on your finger, and you taste your finger to see how the drink is coming along.
Yep.
Guess what? That is illegal in Utah and can result in a business having their liquor license revoked, because it counts as drinking alcohol on the job.
God, Utah sucks.
Yeah.
God, Utah sucks. God, that's no different than a chef tasting the food to make sure it's okay.
Yep. They threatened to take away the liquor license of Bar X, which also would have taken away the liquor license of Beer Bar, which would have been fucking nightmare, because of bartenders when doing cocktail roulette, which is one of the coolest things at Bar X, where basically you go up to the bartender and say, all right, I'm going to do a roulette, give me whatever. And they're like, all right, cool. They hand you your drink, you have no idea what's in it, and then from there, you just begin to, if it's quiet enough, you can talk to the bartender after you've had a couple sips and discuss the beverage and how it was made. Otherwise, you just get to enjoy a random-ass weird drink that the bartender just made up on the spot. Nowadays, they can't do that anymore because to balance a cocktail right, you have to be able to taste it. So they have to stick to more well-known cocktails during cocktail roulette, which is disappointing.
Yeah, that's a bummer. That's basically what you do for me, and I love it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, just let me give you a little bit more about the plot of the show. Give you a general idea of how things go. I more or less described the vibe and the general flow of how things are. But the basic synopsis is it's about this adaptation in particular is about Miwa Kuroshima and her colleague Yukari Higuchi. They are working for a big, relatively new hotel in downtown Tokyo area that is opening up, and they are struggling because they do not have a bartender for their fancy top floor high class bar. And the owner of this hotel has more or less just flat out refused everybody that's applied, simply due to the fact not being able to make what he called a glass of God. Which, hey, if that's the only instruction you're given to finding a bartender, that can be a little bit rough, to say the least. And obviously, these two are frustrated by this fact, trying to find a bartender to do so. And during their search, they stumble upon a quiet little tucked away bar being run by a gentleman by the name of Ryu Sasakura, who is a fairly young bartender, but spent a good chunk of his time in France learning how to be a professional bartender, and quietly coming back to Japan to help out at local bars here and there and just be the cool, laid-back mixologist he is. And the story is very much about Miwa and her partner trying to convince this guy to come and work for them, but he is adamant for reasons that he is not exactly elaborating on.
So, Shaun.
Yes.
I know you mentioned this is more of a slice of life more thing, but I need just to make sure I'm not, reading too much in this. This doesn't turn into anything like Service Wars, right? Where what's supposed to be kind of a slice of life, but with some exaggerated elements, devolves into a weird tournament arc where there's a grizzly bear.
For those who have no idea what the fuck Dylan is talking about, go listen to Shonen Flop. Lovely, lovely podcast. They've been on our show plenty of times, and that was one of the episodes you were on recently, wasn't it?
That is correct. David really loved the manga. He read it when it was current. But since he'd already read it, he couldn't do the episode with Jordan. And Jordan and I had some differing opinions, but overall agreed that the mangaka was given some editorial directives that kind of pushed piece in a weird direction, kind of ruined it.
Yeah. Nope. That is not the case. There is a scene in one of the episodes, and I don't know if we're going to get to it off the top of my head, where there is a little bit of a challenge from the bartender to another bartender to try and make a cocktail here and there. But it never gets over the top shonen anime levels of overly dramatic, exasperated stuff. It's a lot more subdued and a lot more straightforward. There's a lot of pride of being a bartender, and again, it romanticizes things a lot. So there's a lot of rose-colored glasses for the majority of aspects of working in a bar and bartender stuff. But it never gets so over the top that it's gonna make you be like, this is losing the plot a little bit. This is getting a little too out of left field.
So it maintains its identity throughout the show. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I'm curious to hear what you think of it. And also, it's a great excuse for you to make cocktails for the second part of the recording. So,
see, now we know why. The entire reason Shaun orchestrated this from the beginning to make it so Remington couldn't record for over a week. Pull me in very last minute once Remington breaks the news, and then he's like, hey, you know what? I actually want some cocktails instead. So let's just really watch a show. But really, Dylan, I just want you to get me drunk on a Thursday.
Okay, listen here, slut. You would make me a cocktail if I asked you to out of the blue for no reason in particular.
Goddamn right I would.
All right, so without further ado, let's get straight into it. Let's go watch some Bartender, Kami no Glass. And we are back after watching 4 whole episodes of the Spring 2024 anime, Bartender, Glass of God. And Dylan, did this anime inspire some cocktail chemistry in your mind, or did it leave you wanting for a bit of a drink?
Shaun, funny enough, we will have that answer by the end of my overview of what we ended up watching, but that also is related to what you currently have in front of you right now.
Yes. Dylan has ever so graciously made a cocktail in front of me. And it is a very easy to drink cocktail, which makes me think it might be one of the cocktails he might have an intrinsic problem with.
Not necessarily a problem. This is just a cocktail that I had a bit written up about. I've trimmed down in my notes the amount I want to discuss specifically regarding this cocktail, but it is definitely one of the ones that shows up a fair bit in the show. And how do you feel about? You mentioned it's easy to drink. Would you say it's at least good? Would you say it's well balanced? What are you thinking about it?
I mean, like, if you put one of these in front of me, I could probably down it pretty quickly. It's pretty easy to drink. Like, it's not harsh. You can tell there's alcohol in it, but it's like not. It doesn't have like the strong burn of an alcohol. It's almost like a whiskey soda is like the easiest way I could describe it in terms of like a flavor profile.
Interesting. All right.
But no, it's a solid little drink. Like if you want something that's not going to completely knock you on your ass, unless I am completely horrifically misjudging what you've done with this cocktail, which you have. You've fooled me plenty of times in the past with cocktails, so I don't know.
This one, we'll find out. We'll come back to exactly what the drink is here at the end. But
point is, though, I like. But
good.
Then again, there are very few cocktails you make I don't.
Hey, you know what? As long as this one specifically for a cocktail episode is one you enjoy, I'm considering myself pleased.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with the show. Which, oh my god, the fucking opening like 20 seconds before they play the OP is easy to misconstrue. We have a man repeatedly jabbing a block of ice in his hand, monologuing about how bartenders absolutely must not deceive their customers. Which, I mean, aside from the fact that if you put a red filter over it, it would be straight out of a fucking horror show.
Oh yeah, like that's the kind of vibe I was telling you about when it came to like noir-esque vibes. You know?
Oh yeah, and it definitely reapproaches a lot of the noir elements, but it's also aside from the horror aspect, it's complete and utter bullshit.
I told you they really romanticize bartenders in this.
I mean, seriously, everything a bartender has ever told you has been a lie. They don't care about your favorite sports team. They aren't watching the latest season of Love After Lockup. They never had a friend that went to the same college as you, and they never actually loved you and wanted to spend the rest of their life with you.
Oh, buddy. Hey, Dylan. We're still talking about the show, right?
Oh shit, right. So with the show, from there it cuts to the OP, which honestly, the show heavily relies on a lot of adult contemporary, and it's a genre that gets shat on a lot for being boring. And while I wouldn't say that the OP and ED, as well as a lot of the background music, are terribly complex or anything, they still have character and charm to them. So, yeah. Honestly, it's some solid adult contemporary with some jazz thrown in. I dig it. Also, something I noticed, all of the bottles shown in the OP are real?
Yeah. And a lot of the bottles in the background are real, too.
Oh, it's not just the back. Well, yeah, I'll discuss that. But is that legal? Or is this like a JoJo situation?
As far as I'm aware, it's fine. Like, you see products in other shows all the time.
Oftentimes there's a contract involved. Usually they can only show one type of product for the category. So for soda, they can only show Pepsi or PepsiCo products. That kind of shtick. And they were showing many competing products all throughout. So it's a bit of a weird tangential thing, but I'm intrigued about what happened in the back room between discussions of this team and, say, the marketing teams for the literally hundreds of different alcohol companies that were showcased, or if it's just hey, I don't think there's anything legally we're doing wrong here, since we're not specifically saying, we're not saying we're being promoted by these guys or anything. So it's just an interesting thing.
Yeah, I just paused the opening thing and the whiskey lineup. I recognize all of those whiskeys. In fact, we have
one of them in our house right now. Yes.
Yeah, we have the Red Grouse, which is we
have the famous grouse. We also have the Macallan. They have the Macallan 18 showed in the OP. We have the Macallan 12.
Yeah, but I just find that kind of charming, weirdly, if you think about it, because it adds to the realism of the show a bit, because the part of this show's goal is to hey, show you some cocktails that you could actually make yourself. So there's that little note of realism there.
Speaking of the realism, we start with some corporate bullshittery at the Welcome to the Hotel Cardinal. That was supposed to be the tune of Hotel California, but it is 11 o'clock at night, so I'm not going to sing.
Fair enough.
But the Hotel Cardinal is a beautiful monument to wealth disparity. I mean, it's a high-rise hotel where three bartenders are competing for the position of the head bartender at their new exclusive behind-the-counter bar experience, which anytime I've had a behind-the-counter bar experience, I don't think it's what they're talking about.
Probably not, no.
Each of these three bartenders has to make a signature cocktail as part of the competition in order to secure the gig. The first guy makes a martini. Stirred, not shaken, because he's not a fucking animal.
Or James Bond.
Exactly, that's what I said. And from the look of it, like, there's a lot of martinis showcased throughout the 4 episodes we watched. That one was a dirty martini. That one was brown and green.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of color to that fucking martini, and it kind of made me want to throw up.
Oh, yeah, no, I cannot stand dirty martinis, because primarily I cannot stand olives. I'll drink a martini, don't get me wrong. It's just, once olives come near it, that's immediately when I'm yucked out. No thank you, sir.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel about it as well. So that was a dirty fucking martini, and he gets disqualified because he didn't ask the judge if he had any food.
Yep. Because, they want this to be the pinnacle of bartender experience, though it is quite unfair.
Oh, yeah, no, that is also just shit.
Yeah.
If you ask someone to make their signature cocktail for you, they're gonna make their signature cocktail. If you said, make the cocktail you think is right for me, that's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things that this has a very Service Wars feel to. You have to intuit exactly what the customer needs. It's your own shonen superpower. Despite, this isn't a shonen. This is very much laid back, slice of life-ish with some escalated elements.
It is qualified as a seinen if we're talking about demographics.
There you go. Anyway, the second competitor in this little competition says he's going to make a grasshopper. And the grasshopper, a creamy, minty, chocolatey cocktail. Very good dessert cocktail. Having one on an empty stomach, I mean, honestly, probably not the worst thing because it's got a lot of calories in there.
Yeah, it's like a dessert cocktail in and of itself.
Yeah. And the judge asks to have it Café Pouce style, which is it just means layered.
Yeah.
No one says Café Pouce. They just say layered nowadays.
It's anime, so you gotta zhuzh it up a little. Plus, this was written in, the early 2000s, so.
Yeah, and here's where I actually have a fairly big gripe with the show.
Yeah.
How they approached this cocktail specifically. Potentially, I think this was just maybe a miscommunication on the animation team, or the script was a little wonky. But, so, grasshopper. You have equal parts creme de cacao, creme de menthe, and heavy cream. And then you throw them together, shake them, strain it, dust it with nutmeg. I like to add a couple little bits of ground up tonka bean as well, but that's another story. If you are going to layer a cocktail with 2 creme liqueurs in there, you cannot have them be so similar, because creme de cacao and creme de menthe are the same density. You cannot layer efficiently a cocktail where 2 of the ingredients are the same density. They will mix. You cannot stop that. It is going to happen. So, that's what happens. Our aspiring bartender layers his creme de cacao, his creme de menthe, and then his cream. There is a clear swirl between the creme de cacao and creme de menthe, which is going to happen no matter what. If you want to do an actual layered grasshopper, you have to take one of the cremes, be it the cacao or menthe, doesn't really matter which, and shake it with the heavy cream. Because otherwise, you're just going to have a bunch of, you could do just dry shaken cream on top, I guess, if you want to have it separated, but you're still going to have the mix between the creme liqueurs. Anyway, you shake one of the creme liqueurs and the cream together to emulsify them, whip them up into a homogeneous liquid of its own density, so it doesn't share the density of the other creme liqueur that you didn't mix. So that way you can actually layer those 2 very easily. Ah! So yeah, there was that, I would say, inaccuracy on behalf of the show.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. But also, Man, does it establish that they are not cutting any corners on who they're deciding on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And to further that, the third guy is a pretty boy social media sensation, which immediately gets him disqualified.
Yeah.
Because they want to keep it on the down low, but also have that air of class.
Yeah.
So looks like Greg from How to Drink is fucked on this one.
Ah, poor guy.
He's
he's doing fine. He's got a very successful YouTube channel. He doesn't need to be working in a posh high-rise hotel for the wealthiest clientele. He'd probably spit in their faces, honestly, from the content I've seen of him.
Oh, absolutely. That is something he and I can agree on. But so all three of the introductory fodder bartenders failed. So we have our, I would say, one of these two is, I would consider a main character, the other purely supporting. We have Miwa, long hair, and Yukari, short hair and horny.
Well, I mean...
That is Yukari. Yukari is short hair and horny. That is her entire personality. Am I wrong?
No, not entirely. Like, there's more... She has her own little vignettes down the line as well, but, like I said.
Okay. To the point that I've seen, she is short hair and horny.
Yeah.
Which, good for her.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
But they're tasked with finding a bartender for the hotel who can make a glass of God. As they're discussing their task, it's made infinitely easier, because they're sitting on a bench next to a man who passed out reading the Tokyo Bar book.
Oh, yeah.
That is just a beautiful way of lining everything up. But before he can be fully introduced and everything, he gets a call and runs away. And also, they have to go into this later. They haven't in the first 4 episodes. Was he in prison or something?
Why do you ask?
Because he didn't know how to operate the answer slide mechanism on a cell phone. Now, sliding to answer has been a thing since the original iPhone. If that man had ever, in the last 16 years, held a smartphone, that is something he would know how to do.
See, now, you've caught what we like to call a modernization adaptation hiccup, because this show was made prior to that particular feature.
So I'm assuming it was like some variety of like slab phone where there's a bunch of like a button combination you have to press. Why did they adapt that specific aspect if it doesn't make sense in today's day and age?
They wanted to still display that he's not very good at technology and he's a bit disheveled. He was sleeping on a bench in the park. Like they wanted to characterize him as being a little bit on the incompetent side when it came to just normal everyday life. They're trying to characterize him in that way. It's just a bit of a weird choice considering, the slide to answer mechanism has been a thing for aeons at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I even remember I had a not capacitive, the resistive touch screen phones. I had one back, oh god, I think this would have been my first year of high school. It was a piece of shit. It had a tiny resistive touch screen. And I could still, like, to answer, if I wanted to leave it closed, I could, because it would slide open and everything, I could do a little slide or push here to answer. So,
So is a characterization thing that if you think too much about, it'll make you be like, oh, I don't understand. But, like, generally speaking, he's just not great with technology. His talents, as are alluded to, are one thing and one thing only, and that's bartending.
Not even necessarily just bartending, because he's shown to be a very wise young man and just have a keen eye for detail in some almost Sherlock Holmes bullshittery ways, but...
Oh yeah, that's another reason I couldn't show this to Rem, because he would have been fucking livid. Anytime anything vaguely Holmesian gets brought in front of him, he sees red. He sees red and wants to shout at me in particular for showing it to him.
Yeah, for that, I've seen enough like detective bullshit in my time where I'm just like, okay, it's gonna be one of those, just kind of ignore it when it comes up.
Yeah.
But so Miwa and Yukari, a couple days later, they've heard tale of a legendary award-winning bartender from France who serves at a place called Eden Hall, which I think in the show is anglicized both as Eden Hall, one word, and Eden Hall, 2 words. I'm not sure what the fuck was going on with that, but I'm assuming it's just Eden Hall.
Mm-hmm.
2 words, right?
Yeah.
Okay. when they enter Eden Hall, they find our disheveled young former prisoner Sasakura behind the counter.
Again, not a former prisoner, but he
That
was
you
in
know of.
he was in France, so I suppose in your eyes,
Tomato.
Yeah.
And Yukari asks him for something, she hasn't had anything to eat, so she wants something with a low ABV, shaken, and pink. And this was the first actual time they showcased proper bartending instead of just a cutaway to a pre-made cocktail.
Mm.
And I was curious to see what the fuck they would do. And that's when I noticed, literally, every single bottle in this show is a real bottle, with, like, either painted over or with a filter over it.
Yeah.
To the point where I was like, oh, if they keep doing this, I can reconstruct every single cocktail they make in this show. Though the first bottle they showed fucked with me.
Yeah.
Because the very first bottle, you only see a tiny sliver of the label. But it was clearly a Smirnoff label, right? But no, it was fucking massive. It was almost the size of his hand. It was the size of a Campari label. So I was thinking, all right, I had to pause it there. Because I was going to see if I could work through exactly what it was before, like, if they would show it in there or before I could look it up. So then I went to our liquor cabinet, which is just a giant bookshelf completely covered in booze.
We don't have a problem.
Oh, no. Are you kidding?
It was definitely a Smirnoff label, but when the art team decided to add it in, they blew up the size of it maybe 2 or 3 times over, because normally it is the size of your pinky.
Yeah, because it was for Cosmo, wasn't it?
Yes, it was for a Cosmo. And the 2 bottles that you see him handle during that is the Smirnoff and Cointreau. And I was like, okay, they're actually showing exactly what they're using. And then they pull back and you see I was just pausing as they were doing it, so I had no idea that they were going to reveal it or anything. There was a bottle of red,
Which I could only assume was either like cranberry juice or more likely grenadine.
and then next to it was a bottle of green, which I'm assuming was lime juice. And then he revealed, here's your Cosmo. I was like, oh, shit, they're actually being at least somewhat accurate when showing what ingredients are going into a cocktail. Fuck yeah, I can fuck with this. And honestly, I'm really happy that they showed that much care when assembling this show, because a lot of the times, especially with shows from the most recent season, the artists have been on such a crunch where they haven't had the opportunity to show that much care and attention. So, props. And then for Miwa, Sasakura just makes a standard whiskey highball. But Miwa has like a come to God moment, because earlier in the episode, she had kind of a shit one and was pissed that it was diluted because they used like normal refrigerator ice. And Sasakura goes on a tangent. He's like, no, I wanted to not water your drink down. So I used hard ice. Now, hard ice is a real thing. It is not exactly made the way they described it. They described it as you the heart out of a clear ice cube and you freeze it even longer. No, it is just you freeze your ice for longer. And if you want it to be clear ice, it's going to take even longer because you have to do it very slow and controlled and then hold it at a super low temperature for longer. And it will prevent it from diluting nearly as fast. So, again, some actual knowledge. Props to them for that. Unfortunately, Sasakura then decides to mansplain the definition of bartender in a very dumb way. Shaun, how would you define bartender?
Man. That's the fella behind the bar who makes the drinks, and I give him money.
Okay.
Yeah.
No reason, that's a good way to describe it. Another one would be, all right, a bartender would be someone who tends, as in takes care of, manages the bar.
Yeah.
And Sasakura, this motherfucker, said a bar is a perch on which to rest. Tender means gentle or kind. So a bartender is a gentle perch. Which is some fucking middle school level flirting.
The best part is he's not flirting.
She has eyes for him. I don't think he gives a shit. I think he is boosexual.
It does seem that way, doesn't it?
But, I mean, imagine going up to someone and saying, ah, yes, my profession is a gentle perch. You can find me on OnlyFans.
I mean, I might be curious. If they have, like, free trial, perhaps.
Yeah. But, yeah, then Miwa and Yukari just decide they have to have this guy for the bar.
Plus, he's hot, so...
Yeah, He was better when he was younger as an up-and-coming bartender, when he had the bit more of the moppy hair, but I have a type, so.
Yeah.
The episode ends with Sasakura staring mournfully at a vacant plot of land as the wind gently tussles his hair, indicating he has a very tragic backstory. And that is episode 1. That is the one that I had the most, specifically written on, because it's introducing all of our characters and kind of setting up the world around it.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 2 shows our 2 scheming members attempting to find a way to get Sasakura to go corporate and forsake his humanity to go on an epic quest to track him down because his bar was closed for the day while he was helping out a fellow bartender. And Sasakura ends up dealing with a very problematic customer named Taizo, who really just missed his best friend. Also, he happened to be Miwa's grandfather and is the owner of the Hotel Cardinal, but he really just missed his best friend. He's brought back to better days with an old pal. Shaun, do you know what an old pal is?
It's a cocktail, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yes. It's a Boulevardier with a dry vermouth instead of sweet.
Okay.
Yeah. Sasakura makes it back to his home bar, and a femme fatale walks in, who's clearly had a rough day, and he gives her a piping hot bullshot, followed by ramming her with a bloody bowl.
Christ.
Just to, help give her the zest for her work, so, hey, sometimes you need the power of a bartender with a good cocktail.
Christ. You are really leaning into the noir vibes right now with your narration.
Okay, the second she walked in, I was expecting this to have, some fucking detective elements as well. I was hoping it was gonna go full, femme fatale in the noir. No, she's just a lawyer who has some shitty clients.
Yep, and was stressed, and and sometimes a good drink or meal can just help you deal with shit.
Oh yeah. So, honestly, sometimes that's all you need is a good drink.
Yep.
With episode 3, the central plot of episode 3 falls around Taizo and Miwa working together to attempt to woo Sasakura, and Taizo using the ego of a legendary bartender who goes by Mr. Perfect to kind of set up a competition between Sasakura and Mr. Perfect. That is the overarching plot of the episode. Meanwhile, Sasakura, while Taizo and Miwa are just, chilling with Sasakura at his bar, Sasakura gives a woman a gentle B&B. Benedictine and brandy, not bedroom and boning. And somehow between frames, literally in between a less than second-long cutaway, he made Moscow mules for Taizo and Miwa. That man is magic. That is, fucking impressive that while, stirring one cocktail, he can, bam, suddenly have 2 more already made. Pretty fucking impressive. Prior to the competition, Mr. Perfect strolls into Eden Hall, requests that Sasakura makes him a gin fizz, which shows that Mr. Perfect is a fucking asshole who hates it when bartenders have wrists. And after Sasakura kind of mixes up the gin fizz, he adds a special sugar, which gives it a bit of almost a rum-like funk. Mr. Perfect gets up, says, "Get good, scrub your cocktail with shit," and walks out. I have a gripe here.
Yeah.
The audio goes to complete shit when Mr. Perfect tells Sakura that his cocktail wasn't perfect. What they did is they slowed down the recording and tried to lower it by a half step for dramatic effect. However, they were working with a compressed, low-quality initial source, or what they should have done is had the voice director instruct the voice actor for Mr. Perfect
to say that line with more conviction.
As opposed
God, you're
to
right. I just pulled up that part in the episode. Listen to it. Yeah, it does sound weirdly compressed.
Exactly, because they did that entirely in post with a low-quality sample, and it sounds like he's talking through biting the pillow. I'm not wrong.
No, that caught me off guard, but no, you're right. It is... I don't know how I did not notice that in my first watch through.
I don't know how they didn't notice that when making this show. I'm assuming, however, because this is the Japanese animation industry, the people working the show, while they still had enough time to, try and make the cocktails as accurate as possible, they didn't have the time to do a full, thorough check, which I'm kind of sad about. Hopefully, when the Blu-ray release comes around, that'll be something that's fixed. But
yeah, that is the kind of thing that usually does get taken care of later on, that, and animation issues. God, if you look side by side of JoJo's Part 4 animation issues from TV to Blu-ray release, it is night and fucking day. But yeah, no. I get exactly what you mean.
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting. In the end, we have the showdown. Mr. Perfect wins the duel by making the perfect Manhattan, which a Manhattan's a Manhattan's a Manhattan. I cannot say I've had a terrible Manhattan. I can't say I've had a perfect Manhattan. All Manhattans I've had are pretty alright. I would struggle to separate one from the other, especially in how they made these two separate. These two Manhattans, Mr. Perfect made his because he stirred it for a fraction of a second longer. If you go back and you look at it, he pulls his spoon out because they start stirring at the same time. He pulls his spoon out to finish stirring maybe 1 or 2 frames after Sasakura. And that made his Manhattan perfect.
Well, they also used a different glass.
The glass did not have anything to do with this one. They used the glass to signify that it was a different cocktail. Otherwise, they would have explained why glass choice was important. That was not something that was approached. That is a non-topic for this one.
But that's the kind of thing you'd expect in a little bit of anime food-based competitiveness.
Yeah, that when they decide to exaggerate to that level, yeah.
Yeah, but it's still not, we're not having people's clothes be blown off through sheer umami explosion.
No, they practically did that in episode 1, though, when Miwa had that, come-to-God moment over just a fucking whiskey highball.
Hey, if it's your drink, it's your drink. Sometimes when you get that drink, even if it's just a simple basic thing, if it's made well, it can do nice things for you. And yeah, I don't know. When you get your favorite thing, just the serotonin that gets released when you get it in a good way is pretty fucking fantastic. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, simple done right is always great, honestly. But so now we have episode 4. This is the final episode we watched, and it starts with Miwa's manager. He was the original judge during the competition in episode 1. He goes and he does get his perfect Moscow mule at Eden Hall, and he asks Sasakura to help him win over a new potential chef for the hotel's restaurant. Some hoity-toity asshole who wants even the water and vegetables to be imported from Le France.
Oh, God, your hatred of the French comes through so strongly.
I have my moments. And Sasakura does this very creatively. He picks out a 10-year aged, naturally processed mirin, which the new chef confuses for a French wine. And he is just completely blown away that mirin, which is only often used just for cooking, could taste like such a delicate wine. And when they were describing the legs on the mirin, the gentle funk added by the natural fungus processing, it made me wish that we had more than one mirin available in Utah.
Right.
And listeners, I am being dead serious. There is only one mirin you can get in the state of Utah, unless you want a cooking mirin which has no alcohol in it. Because all alcohol has to be, aside from beer around the 5% mark, has to be sold, and it can only be beer. Cider doesn't fucking count for some reason. Cider, you still only have to get it at the DABC. But if you want alcohol, you have to go to the Utah Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control. They are state-owned liquor stores. We have an 80% sin tax on all alcohol sales. So you have to, honestly, a lot of the time, it is a better deal to drive out of state and bring it in. But that's a different topic. The Utah DABC has a fantastic online inventory system. You know exactly how many bottles are in which store and what part of the store they are in. And that it has been that way for ages. You can find things that they have not had to stock for over 10 years. So their inventory system is top notch. So if you go on the Utah DABC website, I think they go by the DABS now. It doesn't fucking matter. Because they want to go by Department of Alcoholic Beverage Services as opposed to control, despite that being what they really do. You will only find one mirin, Takara mirin. And it's good. I mean, I always have a couple bottles in stock. But goddamn, I wanted some 10-year aged naturally processed mirin after that bit.
Next road trip we go on, bud, we'll bring some in. Don't worry.
Yeah. Because we can bring in, I believe, up to 2 liters per adult when traveling interstate before you can rack up those damn bootlegging charges.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of the episode is a discussion between 3 bartenders on martinis and how a bartender can express themselves through one. And they also finally reveal that the fabled Glass of God is just any cocktail that can relieve the worries of any guest. And that is what we ended up watching. And Shaun.
Yeah.
Throughout this entire bit, I've brought up like 10 or so different cocktails. Do you have any idea which one I made for you?
I mean, my immediate guess would be like the whiskey highball.
Okay.
Right. If you made something different, then fuck yeah. If you pulled the show on me and did the Mirren thing on me, I will find it hilarious, but I'll still thank you because it still tastes good.
It's a martini.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, and it's one that I made very much my own style. So 2 ounces of Hendrick's Orbium. It's a limited edition gin. Definitely not around anymore. I bought my bottle years ago.
You know what? Now that I'm actually paying attention, that is 100% a martini. Ah, God, I am a mess. It's very good though. Yeah. So sorry.
Oh yeah, no, especially because I adore Hendrick's Orbium. It's, I believe, the thing that because Hendrick's does a lot of limited edition gins. This is one that they specifically use wormwood extract, and I think Lotus Blossom. I think it might be that one, or that might be the one that uses Orange Blossom. One of the two. They also have a gunpowder one, but anyway, 2 ounces Hendrick's Orbium, 1.5 ounces dry vermouth, half an ounce sweet vermouth. Oftentimes, if you're doing mixed vermouths, it's a 50-50 between dry and sweet, or you're doing all dry. However, I didn't want to overpower it with how sweet it is.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. It's super easy to drink.
And when it comes to martinis, I refuse to allow olives in this house.
Hey, and that's why we live together.
But the funk and olive adds to a martini is kind of important. So
Right.
What do you think I did, Shaun?
What would you have done to add funk? I don't know, man. You could have... Huh. I genuinely don't know. Because, like, I have a general idea of what we have in the house, but you are also kind of like a cocktail wizard, so you could have pulled something completely random out of there. I don't know.
I threw in a bar spoon of rice wine vinegar.
There it is. Honestly, it works.
Yeah,
Like,
I knew it would. Like, because as I was making it, I was doing the straw test, and honestly, yeah, it was good.
Like, as a guy who usually hates straight vinegar, it accents everything in the cocktail quite nicely.
Glad you enjoy it.
Yes. It's the nice thing about living with you, man. It lets you have a fun little cocktail every once in a while, especially a nice little creative twist. So you got inspired by that 4th episode when they talked about the personalization of a martini, which could translate to any cocktail, really. Did you have any thoughts on that aspect in particular? Did that resonate with you?
Not necessarily in how they were approaching it for martinis, but when they discussed, it isn't necessarily just how you mix the cocktail, but how each individual bartender will make the same drink a different way, even down to using different ingredients. And that helps showcase their personality. I did appreciate that, and it's not something that one would normally think of, but if you're a regular at any sort of bar, you deal with different bartenders, you'll get to know the differences between them and how they prepare their drinks. So I did appreciate that bit.
So, all in all, you watched 4 episodes of the show, which is a third of the 1 season it has. Whether or not it gets a second one, hard to say. Obviously, this wasn't the most popular show of the spring season, because it's such a niche interest show. But overall, now that you've spent, a good bit of time watching it, do you have any strong opinions on it?
Honestly, I really like this show. It's definitely not a binge-worthy show.
No.
It is, and I'm honestly not a huge fan of the A-plot for each one, which is usually or not necessarily the A-plot, but the plot specifically to get Sasakura to sell his soul and work at the Hotel Cardinal.
Yeah.
I much prefer the bartender going over social language and cocktails and discussing what makes this cocktail well suited for this individual under this circumstance. I really appreciated that, and this is a show that I would definitely like to watch more of.
Fantastic. Yeah, it is. It's what you could consider a niche targeted show. But those who do enjoy things of a cocktail nature tend to enjoy this show and enjoy the original manga as well. whether or not it's for you, you can probably figure out within like the first 2 episodes. Does it get pretentious at times? Oh, fuck yeah. Of course it does. Why wouldn't it? You know, it's anime.
Yeah.
You gotta like zhuzh things up a little bit, make them a bit over the top in one way or the other. But honestly, all in all, it's fine. It's got personality and it's got a fun subject matter that me and my lovely editor love to chat about. But that being said, with all that in mind, do you have any guesses on what the MAL score for Glass of God is?
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Because this is a tricky one, because it's a remake of a older one.
This is a remake of an already niche show,
Mhm.
which it was an adaptation of presumably a very niche manga.
Yeah.
Fuck. Shit. However, it's not objectively bad. It's not hypersexualized, which is probably going to be a few points against it, but everything about it, it does, for the most part, quite well. Not many people, I'm sure the people that watch it have finished it. The people that watch the show are going to watch the hell out of this. This is going to have a relatively high, like, completion rate.
And really, I think it's a good show that works for being released an episode a week.
Oh, yeah.
It's like watching one episode of this on a Thursday and then, maybe trying one of the cocktails presented seems like a pretty good, like, little routine for the better part of 3 months.
Absolutely. And, okay, so I'm going to say 7.42?
7.42. Okay. Well, Dylan, Bartender, Kami no Glass, has, at the time of this recording, only 28,000 ratings, just shy of 29,000 ratings. So, again, not the most popular thing. However, of those 29,000 ratings, Glass of God is sitting nice and pretty at 7.39.
Ah!
So fucking close, dude. So fucking close. Like, that was a Remington quality guess right there, though.
That's so close.
You were 300ths off, my guy. That is stupid fucking close. Considering you haven't been doing this, every week for as long as him, that's pretty impressive, my guy. So I'm proud of you for that. But yeah, no, you've basically nailed it. The general consensus of this show is the people who were familiar with the original material seem to enjoy this adaptation pretty much. They have their minor gripes and complaints here and there, but that's what you're going to get with any new adaptation of any product, right? And the people who have never experienced it and came to it for the first time, for the most part, really enjoy it. They say it gets a little pretentious at times, and it also is a little bit up its own ass about what being a bartender is from time to time. But overall, it is a very relaxing, chill show to watch that features an adult cast and, things to try, things to learn about, which, is great for an adult audience. And hey, the first episode of this show that I ever had you on, Dylan, was also a bartending themed show. So, I feel like it's only natural that we continue the tradition of anytime I get an opportunity to discuss cocktails on podcast with you, I bring you along. So I'm glad you were able to join me for this one. And it was entirely planned and definitely not because shit got fucked this week.
Hey, honestly, I'm really glad you brought me in because I wouldn't have seen this show otherwise. And I enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's not for everybody, but if you think it might be for you, give her a go. But with that in mind, the final question I need to ask you, Dylan, any chance you want to watch more Bartender Kami no Glass with me?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. So with that in mind, thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you enjoyed myself and my lovely editor sharing a cocktail and having a grand old time, then please head on over to wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review. They mean the world to us and we do read every single one. And if that is still not enough for you, twitch.tv/animeoutofcontext, where you can watch myself, Dylan, and Remington occasionally play video games very poorly. And if that is still not enough for you, patreon.com/animeoutofcontext, where you can gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including having the opportunity to be thanked live on the podcast. So, Dylan, who are we thanking this week?
Well, Shaun, first we want to give our thanks to all of our bland bitch protagonists and magical girls, but we're going to start with our yandere waifus, who are the reason we're covering our drink at the bar. And they are...
Oh, God. Oh, God, that's not cool. That's not
funny,
cool.
though. It's funny, though.
It is funny. It is very funny. We're explicit for a reason. My Christ. Stay safe in public bars, my guys. Please do.
Absolutely. Anyway, and they are 50 ways to say Shikanoko Nokonoko Konoshitan, a moe piece of trash, Aishiguji, AJ Tunnels, All Hail Pui Pui Philosopher King, Amazing Muffin, and every day that Raven comes to visit. Batman couldn't hate fuck that information out of me. Been a while since I've changed my name on here, but I got third 4.0, and I can't believe it. I'm also changing my major from funeral. Bento Kato, Blake Star, Brockhard for Geodudes tried to sneak through the door, man. Can't make it, door stuck.
Door stuck. Door stuck. God, I love that video. God, that's classic.
Cat girls are best girls, so give them cute little paws. Cheese Monkey, Come Sweat and Tears, Daddy Rem Tell Me a Bedtime Story, Danielle Riot, Derpixian Worshipper, Domo, Dwayne The Rock Johnson in a deer suit, Erica McGorkle, Fantide, Farmer Weeb's deer pun until Shikanoko Nokonoko Konoshitan, what is the cheapest kind of meat? Deer legs, as they're under $1. From the guy that finally changed his name.
Why did I laugh at that?
Ginger Weeb, Glenn Michael Dolan. Here's a really short name to give you a brief break from reading the really long names. Hey Remington, if you want to punish Shaun, have him watch both seasons of Super Lovers for 12 days of Xmas. I can't believe I made an account for this. I want a Dylan sexy calendar, please. I will never get more ace. I will never get more ace of the diamond, now I cry. I'll date someone as long as they're not a normal human being, I don't care if they're a boy or a girl. I'm the original guy that made you say cunt every week, and that other guy is just a pretender. It's pronounced Hunter times Hunter, so the big fans just call it Hunter squared, explains Misaka. Jamhands, Jax, Jergidius, Cassidy, King Rich Rock, Kylo, Leonard98, Link Jokerl, Lucky Star is the King of Moe, Macaroni Uchiza, making fake Mal accounts so I can rate Forest Ray 5 10 out of 10, Makeka 7 Hirto, my favorite dinosaur is a Triceratops, Necrodancer 1415, Nick, Onichichi 10 out of 10 Family Show. Pakuo Musico, Professor Fox, Pro Tips Out of Context, Shika Noko Noko Noko, Konoshi Tan Tan, Shika Noko Noko Noko, Konoshi Tan Tan, Shika Noko Noko, Konoshi Tan Tan. Rem doesn't completely hate my favorite show. Rem hit rock bottom and is still on top of Shaun. Rem uses the drums of liberation to free all weebs from bad anime. Remington is right. Remington needs to rewatch Attack on Titan on 0.75 times speed to pay for his sins. Rhiannon Williams, Ross Palmer. Saga of Shaun Rollins the Evil, 5 Children, 5 Soldiers. Say hi to that guy's fiance. I think it's Haley. So, Shaun, what's the 5 Children, 5 Soldiers thing?
Remington with the children soldiers things. With the girls in Panzer.
Yep.
Yeah.
You did show him a lot of child soldiers in Pride Month.
Okay, listen.
Shaun, please show Rem Helpful Fox Senko-san. Do it for the tail. Sugoi Dekai, that's what she said. Start from the shark plushie. Oh, so is that a little blow high? Nice. Shaun can do these nuts. Shaun had a last like go all night, but he got out of breath when he had to blow her up. God, that song's so fun. Shaun, let's kiss in the Panzerkampfwagen. Shaun ruined my happy sugar life when he proudly declared his deep-rooted love for child soldiers and hatred of dogs. Shaun, we need an Oshinoko revisit because Oshinoko, Oshi Tenten, motherfucker.
That's fucking funny. I don't care who
That's
you are. That's
a good one. Shaun wants to give Spoonman a thinking yank. Shikanoko, Nokonoko, Spoonman Man. Shrek is love, Shrek is life. Spoonman stirs up Dylan's guts like the edgy cocktail he is. Did they know?
Are they fucking psychic? What the shit?
Did they know? What the fuck?
I decided today. That's
you
what
decided
we were
like an hour before you got home, yeah. Stacy's mom, Super Zoo, Turban, the capybara petitions to replace Gege Akutami with Megan the Stallion. Who?
That's
Gege?
Megan the Stallion. Gege
Megan
Akutami is the author of Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh. You know what? I don't know if that'd be an improvement or not, but I'm sure it'd be wet.
Probably not. I mean, Megan Thee Stallion has had some very spicy cosplays as of late, so that's probably why.
Good for her? Question mark.
Do you not know who Megan Thee Stallion is?
I am aware that she exists and is vaguely controversial. I don't think I give a shit.
Yeah, like I don't really give a shit either, but I'm actually surprised I know. But
yeah,
I know a pop culture thing that you don't. Weird. Okay, cool.
The Danish Viking will conquer the world with Ronor Zoro as my navigator, the flying spaghetti monster, the pocket big hole you need in your pocket, the Susanator. There once was a boy named Skipper who traded his soul for a wood chipper. One day it broke down, he replied with a frown and said, and it just fucking cuts off.
Yeah, hey, it may not say there's a character limit, but gang, there's a character limit.
Tangular Snape, Titan CNH.
Totally God-a-do-ba-dee-ba-da-do?
Okay. Unhinged Prax, Utah number 1, watching Requiem for a Spoon Man at 0.5 speed. Welcome to Anime in full and complete context of the show. Where? West Kane. Where's our DBZ review, you ginger fuck? Why Shaun, Wolffire 56, Yams and Eggfest, Yandere Neko, Xanax. Some Japanese that I'm sure Shaun can translate. Okay, so Shaun, I'm going to explain it to you.
You're gonna explain the Japanese to me.
Yes, I'm going to explain the characters, and I want you to, using my explanation, try and actually decipher what it is. Okay, so first we have a smiley face, and then we have a plus with a little circle on it.
Is the smiley face? Are the little guys on the smiley face going vertical, or are they kind of like angled to the left?
They're kind of diagonal, angled to the left.
And is that? Sorry, you said the next one was like an X.
It was like a plus or an X with like a little circle on the arm, on the right side of the arm. Tiny.
Okay.
And then we got a stylized 7 with a little dot over it.
Schwa, maybe.
And then we got an at symbol.
An at symbol. Oh, like, does it look like a little loop-de-loop or like a sperm?
Yeah, it's like a spermazone.
Okay, so no.
And then we've got a. Okay, this one's gonna be hard to explain. This one initially is a T with a little circle over the right arm of the T, and under the right arm of the T, there's an equal sign.
Okay. Weirdly, I think I understand.
Then we've got a backwards lowercase c with an accent mark over it.
Okay.
And then, this one's another weird multi-parter. We've got a lowercase g, but the back of the G is attached to a T.
The back of the G is attached to the T.
Yeah, so you got a lowercase g, and then the part of the G that's the rightmost part of the G shares a line with the letter T.
Oh, okay. I think I know what you mean. Okay.
And then finally, this one's a bit weird. We have an electrical pole, with the 2 lines coming off of it, standing and kind of flattening a C.
Okay. Huh. Okay, so, God, man, this is going to be tricky. I think the first 3 is, so the first one sounds like she, but if it has the little, like, weird plus guy with the, and it's small, that would modify it to, like, a Shaw, I think. I think the third one that you described is like either wa or oo. So maybe that would be Shao. No. Oh, fucking hell. Shaun. I think that might be my name.
They used
Shao no.
1, 2, 3. They used 8 characters just to say your name.
Well, that and I think they used hiragana, which probably might not work for my name. I don't know. So that would be Shao no.
Okay.
And you said there was like a little accent next to the one that was like a T with like little things, yeah?
Yeah, there's a little circly accent mark.
Okay, all right. So I think that's ta, but the accent makes it da.
Okay.
Okay, su sha no daisuki. I think they try. Okay, if I'm interpreting this right, I think they're saying I love you, Shaun, or I like you, Shaun. But I think they might not have used the exact correct hiragana, if I am remembering correctly. Because I feel like there would need to be like an E in there somewhere.
All right, so now what I'm going to do, just to see how well I described it, I am going to pull up Google Translate.
God, if it's not my name, I am going to be so fucking embarrassed because how self-centered do you have to be?
All right, I'm going to open Japanese, Google Translate, use the camera so I can look at this. So, as close as Google's able to get is Shaw's favorite.
Shaw's favorite what?
I don't fucking know, dude. Shaw's favorite.
Okay, I do think that is what they're going for then. They're trying to say Shaun.
Okay.
Shao. So I suppose my name could just be Shao. No. Cuz like maybe they don't want to throw the end there. Cuz like, I've got an Irish English name, like that's not going to translate super well.
Yeah, that's going to be a little messy.
Yeah, and then the next one's supposed to be daisuki, which is I like.
Okay.
Or like my favorite, or das. So
Shaun's my favorite. Is that what they were going for?
I think so. Either that or I like Shaun. Which, hey, either way, compliments. I appreciate it. If I did that correct.
All right, and moving on down to the boy wizard tier, where Shaun will be giving you cocktail that he's going to be having after we finish recording today.
Oh my Christ. Oh, okay. Hey gang, last podcast episode ever because I'm going to die of alcohol poisoning.
First we have All Father returns to his decade counting. Note, by decade, I mean of the podcast in general.
Okay, you're going to get a grasshopper.
Animated Z.
Oh, and also, folks, if you don't drink, there are virgin versions of all these drinks. Sorry, Animated Z, you're going to get a Negroni.
Anime mashup of the week, One Punch Kaiju.
How about a daiquiri?
Beethoven 1201.
An old-fashioned.
Blood Cell, here to remind you that white blood cells are inferior. You need the red ones to think and yank anyways.
A dry martini.
Carver 271.
The Jimmy Buffett special margarita.
Rest in pieces. Crimson Reapers just because of the sides.
Espresso martini.
Crosskirk.
How about a whiskey sour?
I also think Rem should show Shaun Super Lovers for 12 Days of April Fools.
I heartily disagree. You get an Aperol Spritz.
I am a regulation listener that used to listen to Face Jam, but now listen to 100% Eat. I think that might be a Google Translate issue. I'm not 100%.
I could not tell you, sir. But what I can tell you is they're going to get a lovely mojito.
I ran out of funny quips, so I'll just make you say cunt weekly.
How about a Bloody Mary? Since maybe that's a little too on the nose. Oh, well, it's fine.
It's August. No, I think July.
Gimlet.
Miguel De Leon.
How about a Moscow Mule?
Mike.
Penicillin. The cocktail, not the drug.
Monogatari is a fun story about chasing down the apparitions with a bit of romance and sometimes can get horrifically fucked.
Ooh, here's a lovely one. A Dark and Stormy.
Netja bewahren sie schon mal in Baden-Württemberg.
Corpse Reviver.
Nightshade Blade wants to gush over magical girls.
Clover Club. What? Sorry, do you need me to choose
Nyanya May, Nanya Junyanya Do. No, Nya Rabi Di Nyakunyaku Inyakunyaku. Nanya Han, Nanya Dai, Nanya Nyaku, Nanya Bete, Nanya Ganya Game.
Yeah. Good effort, sir. For that effort, they get a Mai Tai.
Fuck is that, Shaun?
Sorry?
What the fuck is that?
Well...
Not a Mai Tai, their name. I know what a Mai Tai is.
Cutting me off before I can make the joke. Well, so you notice how there's Nyan in front of everything, yeah?
Yeah, is it just a Nan version of Pig Latin?
No, I think they're just saying it like a cat. I could not tell you exactly what they're doing off the top of my head, because that is a lot of Nyans and my brain doesn't, my brain doesn't process, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I gotcha.
Oh, it's a tongue twister. Okay. It's a Japanese tongue twister. So there you go. That is cat-based. And here's a clip of it.
All right. Oh, I just see a yelling cat. What the fuck is this shit? What the fuck? That sounds unreal. I'm gonna need to, like, put that in. Because what the fuck?
I could not tell you, sir.
Anyway, did you give Pan Expert a cocktail?
Oh, one of my favorites, a Sazerac.
Rem, Oni-chan, what are you doing with that toothbrush? No, Rem, Oni-chan, don't brush my teeth, moaned Shaun weakly.
I was having fun with it until it was me. I was like, oh, it's nice that Rem gets one of these for once. But no, I'm there in the end. Oh, God, I've shown you that scene, right?
Maybe. I don't remember.
Scene?
I don't remember.
I'll show you later, man. Don't worry.
Okay.
We'll let you get you. How about a Paloma?
Remington Chase's laugh is my favorite sound.
Americano.
Remington will enjoy the slice of life golf anime Oi Tanbo, says Rare Kumiko.
Amaretto Sour.
Roscop.
Gin Fizz.
Sammy K is beautiful enough doggos to up her page. Is beautifying enough doggos to up her Patreon membership.
Hell yeah. A Bellini.
Scourge, best $20 spent, LMAO.
If you like pina coladas.
Yes.
No, that's what they get. They get a pina colada. So if they like
I thought you were going to give them something that if they loved pina coladas, they would like even more.
Well, if they love pina coladas, they're going to love a pina colada. I don't know where the confusion is.
I don't think they're going to be able to escape. Sporadic Silver.
One of Dylan's favorites, the porn star martini.
Tails W encounters a sexy ninja woman.
The sidecar.
That mouse girl.
The Irish coffee.
Umbrasite.
The last word.
Vincent Calabrese.
Tom Collins.
Waganawa Megman Akuwazado wo Nawai Toshi Saikyo no Kogeki no Maho Bakuretsu Maho wo Ayatsuru Mano. I'm assuming it's Mono, but man, it is after midnight.
Look, man, the fact that you're attempting to read Japanese, it makes me proud of you. And to reflect your mental state, they're getting a zombie.
Hey! Week 4 of asking for a darling in the Franks review.
Cosmopolitan.
And now we're moving on up, finally, to the inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier, where Shaun will give you 3 ingredients to make a cocktail, and I'll come up with a name for it. Starting off,
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm proud of you.
fuck you. Starting off, we have Latina will take a break from talking about anime to tell you, my birthday's in 2.5 weeks. Shit, don't want to get older. Yeah, shit, neither do I. Fuck.
Hey, yeah, you're pretty close, my guy.
Don't fucking start.
All right. So let's see. You'll get your cocktail. It's gonna have simple syrup. It's gonna have Midori, and to top it all off, it's gonna have mirin.
It's gonna be Shaun Rollins' morning sickness.
I beg your pardon. Okay. All right. Cool.
Next up, we have Rowdio.
Let's go with. Your cocktail is gonna consist of Fireball, and Big Hole.
It's gonna be called Dylan's Waking Nightmare. And finally, your viscera welcomes me in. Walls of flesh so warm again, so let's get swallowed whole.
My God. Your cocktail is gonna be absinthe. It's gonna be a sugar cube, and it's gonna be a trip to the psychiatric hospital.
Also known as the Shaun Rollins facial.
Don't like that. Don't like that.
Thank you so much for tuning in. You can, that's all, folks. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can always tweet us at AnimeConPod on Twitter, email us at anime@gmail. Fuck. Send us an email at anime@gmail. Fucking damn it, Dylan. Email us at animeoutacontext@gmail.com, or I can't remember what the third one is.
Or reach out to us at AnimeConPod on Twitter.
I thought I already said AnimeConPod on Twitter.
Oh, you did do that. Yeah, Twitter. No, I think you got it.
There's
You
only
got
2?
it, man. You're
Why
fine.
do I remember there being 3? God damn it, Remington.
Look, man. If we left something out, it's okay. It's a special episode. But either way, thank you all so much for tuning in. We love and appreciate you very, very much. And as always, don't fuck your sister.
Sugar-doo-doo-doo-doo. Sugar-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.